Hello, hello, hello. So today it is Monday, the 29th of September. And if you're tuning in for the first time, we spend the next hour going through all of the latest and greatest news in the world of AI. And we finish up with a demo of something useful that you can use, a tool or a workflow or a product, which I think is worth paying attention to. So without further ado, let's start with the latest news of the last couple of days and over the weekend. Biggest one, I think, in my opinion, today is this story. It's all about AI created or AI talent. So in this case, it is a virtual actor. Now, we covered a story last week around a music artist actually signing a $3 million record deal. Got tons of views on Spotify. Ended up getting the bag for $3 million. But this is in the acting space. So here's the story. Aline van der Velden, founder of an AI indie particle of AI indie Particle 6, launches an AI talent studio for hyperreal digital stars. Now, this is the AI actress in question. I think she's already got social media, etc. And it's called Tilly Northwood, AI actress Tilly Northwood. So here is the story. As AI continues to infiltrate the entertainment industry, Particle 6 founder Aline van der Velden is taking it one step further with the launch of an AI talent studio designed to create, manage, and monetize the new generation of hyper-real digital stars. Now, I think the hyper-real thing is probably appropriate because you've seen these models of how good they are now. They're pretty much indistinguishable from reality. The new company, which Van der Velden will officially launch at Zurich's Film Festival, upcoming Zurich Summit conference this weekend, will focus on creating AI talent for use in everything from film and TV productions to podcasts, TikTok, YouTube, brand campaigns, and video games, as well as interactions with fans. I don't even know how to pronounce this. It'll sit alongside the AI production company Particle 6, which Van der Velden founded in 2015, and will build on Particle 6's proprietary avatar personality engine, Deep Fame. Crazy name. Plus, a direct fan engagement platform is now developing a scalable portfolio of emotionally intelligent AI personas. Yeah, so we're getting down the route of no one's going to be able to really understand exactly who or what they're interacting with. Now, unlike static avatars, their characters are developed with complete backstories, distinct voices, evolving narrative arcs, and fully realized personalities. The characters can engage in unscripted conversations, perform monologues, and respond to trends in real time, adapting the tone and reference to suit platform specific audiences. Okay, they're running a hybrid model of human creative oversight with autonomous AI responsiveness. So this is their first character, Tilly Norwood, on platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and the AI actress is building an early following. So this is the rundown. They say it's currently working with several Hollywood stars to appear on screen as their younger or current selves, and is collaborating with the States to bring legendary performers back to the big screen while offering studios a new way to reimagine and exploit existing IP. So they're going to bring people back from the dead to create content and actually maybe film new films, host new shows, perform new music festivals, whatever it is. They're bringing them back through AI personas. The company's mid to long term roadmap includes scaling to more than 40 AI personas, licensing its Deep Fame technology as a platform, and expand into scripted entertainment formats, live performances, and merchandising. It said it wants to create an entire universe of characters where events in one character's life may impact another, offering crossover potential, fandom expansion, and an evolving digital IP. So, yeah, AI driven talent studio, all through AI personalities, is here. We believe the next generation of cultural icons will be synthetic stars that never tire, never age, and can interact with fans. But just like the best entertainment companies, the key isn't the technology, it's the storytelling and the people behind those stories. Honestly, I think the key is the technology because without the technology, none of this can happen. So I think that's a nice thing to say if you're trying to sell these things. But yeah, the key isn't the storytelling. The key is the technology, because they're going to be using the technology for the storytelling. They're going to be using GPT-5, Claude 4 to write the scripts, respond. So the key is definitely the technology. We're standing at the dawn of a new category, AI-powered celebrity IP. Own it and set the creative standard, just as the 20th century was defined by the rise of film stars and pop icons. We believe the 21st century will be defined by synthetic talent. I should agree with that. But yeah, the key is definitely technology. It's going to be a wild world out there. Okay. Apple built its own ChatGPT-like app to test out the new Siri AI revamp. The app is called Veritas. So Apple's big AI revamp for Siri is getting closer and closer. The iPhone maker has been overhauling its Siri voice assistant in hopes of making it comparable to AI tools from companies like OpenAI and Google. In fact, speaking of ChatGPT's creator, Apple has already created its own version of OpenAI's chatbot to test out the new and improved Siri. If you've been following along with this whole debacle, Apple has pretty much botched the whole of its AI strategy over the last couple of years. Siri Intelligence, or Apple Intelligence, sorry, and Siri are probably the dumbest AI ever. Probably not ever, that's probably a bit harsh, but it's dumb compared to what would be expected from Apple. Apple Intelligence, with access to all the apps and information on your phone, should be remarkable. It's just not. So I don't know what the high expectation is going to be for this, but according to a new report from Bloomberg's Apple insider Mark Gurman, Apple has created a ChatGPT-like dubbed Veritas to prepare Siri for its revamp next year. It's only for internal use among Apple employees in its AI division, and the company has no current plans to release it to the public. Yeah, probably keep that one under wraps until it works, probably. However, news of Veritas' existence gives us importance to look at Apple's plans. It's perhaps the biggest tech company that is yet to fully immerse its products in AI like its competitors. Apple launched its own AI features, Apple Intelligence, last year. However, unlike its competitors, it's powered by a combination of Apple's own technology and AI technology from partner companies. Yeah. So far, Apple's underperforming in this whole world where it should be overperforming. That's what we expect from Apple. And they're releasing a new OpenAI chatbot. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. Any other important things? However, yeah, this is the punchline. However, the Siri revamp has been delayed many times before. Gurman reports that Apple is currently slated for March 2026 debut for the new Siri. So fingers crossed. I hope they do release something really good, as it would be great to have a super intelligent AI that has all the context of all the apps, history, connectors, automations that you can have on your phone. I'd love to see it. Fingers crossed, March 2026. They nailed it this time. Okay, this was a funny story from hbr.org. It says AI generated work slop is destroying productivity. And here's a quick summary. I've made some notes. We'll read through them. But despite a surge in generative AI use across the workspace, most companies are seeing little measurable ROI. One possible reason is because AI tools are being used to produce work slop. Okay, so I'll leave this article up and I'll read the notes. So here's the key breakdown. And the overall is work slop is increasing the burden on colleagues, resulting in lost productivity rather than the anticipated efficiency gains. Now, widespread AI use is actually expanding across companies, but people are reporting low ROI. Now, despite the AI adoption more than doubling in recent years, a recent MIT Media Lab study found that 95% of organizations see no measurable return on their investments. We covered that report last week. And they've actually defined work slop here as work slop is content generated with AI that masquerades as quality work, but actually creates more work for recipients by lacking the necessary context, depth, and completeness. In a survey of 1,550 US full-time employees, 40% reported receiving work slop in the last month. And they estimate that 15% of work content fits the description. Dealing with each incident costs nearly 2 hours and imposes a hidden productivity tax. I guess as if you receive like a long document that's just been generated with AI and it's non-productive, you spend more time actually filtering through what is useful and what is not. And then that just wastes everyone's time. So I guess that's the definition of work slop. Dealing with each instance costs nearly 2 hours and imposes a hidden productivity tax, estimated over $9 million per year for a 10,000 person company. It's quite a lot. Work slop not only wastes time, but also harms relationships and trusts within teams. Many see colleagues who send it as less creative, capable, reliable, and trustworthy, with significant reputational damage. Now, if you've ever like produced content with AI or produced a blog or SEO stuff or whatever it is, then AI can just go on a tear and just produce like loads of content. And then initially you're like, wow, this is great. It's just done a load of work for me. But you read into it and you dig into the details. You're actually, that's not that great. That's probably a bit of a waste of time. So this is leaning towards that. We're seeing that at scale now inside of the workplace. The authors advise that organizations move away from indiscriminate AI mandates and instead set clear guidance for thoughtful AI usage, encourage an AI pilot mindset, using AI to enhance creativity and productivity, not avoid real work. Treat AI as a tool for collaboration, not a shortcut or means to pass off responsibility. Okay, so that's the definition of work slop. If you've ever received work slop or are the creator of work slop, you might admit it, but I love to hear from you, especially if you've got a big company and if you're seeing that actual tax coming through from people using AI extensively. Next, Meta wants to become the backbone of humanoid robots. So Meta's chief technology officer, Andrew Bosworth, says robotic software could be an AR-sized bet, following the company making huge investments into AR projects like the Meta Ray-Ban display. So this is going to be in the realm of training data, capturing information, using it to train humanoids. Now, Meta wants to become the software backbone of humanoid robots in the future. According to the tech giant's technology boss, Andrew Bosworth, said in a recent talk at the company's HQ that he doesn't care about Meta being a hardware manufacturer in itself, but wants to focus on licensing its software to other manufacturers. This approach, if it materializes, might not look too similar to Google's take on smartphone space. Yada, yada, yada. We'll move on. I don't think the hardware is the hard part. I'm not saying it's not too hard, but it's also not the bottleneck. The bottleneck is the software, apparently. We've heard reports of Meta wanting to take over this emerging space this year, but it would be Meta's next AR-sized bet. To put this into context, Meta has sort of committed over $100 billion in cumulative investment into the augmented and virtual reality portfolio, which includes projects like their newly released Meta Ray-Ban display. I wonder if they're going to be able to get large amounts of training data for humanoids through Meta's AR-powered and AI-powered glasses, because obviously you can capture that video data really easily if they can license or get tons of these out into the wild, like to hundreds of millions of people around the world. I wonder if there'd be a program that they could run where if people opted in to have the data captured through what they're seeing in the real world, they can then use that to train humanoids in simulation, which can then train humanoids to perform tasks in the real world, like open an oven or tidy up the house or do the washing, etc. But because they have this Meta Ray-Ban display and these glasses that you can distribute at scale, it's going to be a good source of gathering real world training data. And that was how Tesla's autopilot became so good, is because they had so many cars on the road or with cameras. That video data was fed back into the training for improving the cars and seeing the different edge cases and then eliminating them over time. And thus, it always gets better. So far, although humanoid robots have been a great success in some fields, they've struggled when it comes to manipulating unstable objects. Bosworth explained that a robot trying to pick up a glass of water would likely immediately crush it or spill the water, and would also struggle with relatively simple tasks like grabbing a pair of car keys from a jeans pocket. He explained the Superintelligence Lab working with the company's robotics group to build what he calls the world model that can do the software simulation required to animate a dexterous hand. So if you're not familiar with this whole simulation thing, basically they create like a virtual model of an environment and a virtual model of a humanoid. And in simulation, they just create like tons, millions, thousands of simulations of the robot learning, and through reinforcement learning and training data, it gets better at performing these tasks virtually. And then it can train the humanoid in the real world to do that better. Just look up some videos by Unitree, for instance, of them teaching a robot martial arts, and you can see how that works. Despite Meta's big ambitions, it could be a long way until Meta plans to turn it into something available to consumers. Early this year, a source with knowledge of the project told Bloomberg it could be years before Meta's platform is ready to power third-party robotics. Meanwhile, Meta is the only tech giant that remains extremely bullish about the future of humanoids. At CES, Nvidia predicted the market could hit $38 billion in the coming decades, claiming the ChatGPT moment for general robotics is just around the corner. So, kind of widely thought that humanoid robots in general are going to be the next like $0 trillion industry, with millions of humanoids rolling around the planet, doing things, doing work, and doing productive things. So, yeah, Meta could be in a good spot to pursue something there. Okay, article Futurism now. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit. Pretty bold headline. SAP exec, get ready to be fired because of AI. I will be brutal. Okay, it's a pretty punchy headline. A key exec at Europe's biggest software company is sending a clear message. Your job can and will be done with AI. This comes from an interview with Business Insider. The SAP chief CFO, Dominic Assam, was asked if the goal of the company's push to use AI coding tools was to produce more code with the same number of employees. That's when he laid out the ruthless calculus. By using AI, there's more automation simply. There are certain tasks which are automated, and for the same volume of output, we can afford to have less people. So there's two sides of the coin. Are you going to keep the head count the same and just be more productive and get more done and grow the business? Or are you going to try and replace people with AI? It looks like SAP are going to be doing the second one of those. I will be brutal, he added. For SAP and any other software company, AI is a great catalyst. Yep, it is. Azam is one of the many business execs who've been startlingly candid about their intentions to displace human labor with AI tools or agents. From their point of view, you can directly replace your overpaid, calling in sick grunts with ever dependable AI agents. Or you can whittle your workforce down to a skeleton crew that's super effective thanks to the magical abilities of AI. Okay, we can just skip through to seeing if there's any other quotes. They're just talking here about different hallucinations and guardrail breaking. So there still needs to be, these agents need to get better over time, but it's clear that the goal is to replace people over time. So as soon as you have these agent breakthroughs and they can work for longer and make less mistakes, you can probably be certain and then another culling of people will happen. I'm sometimes baffled when I hear from some investors that all customers will write off their software themselves. I'm preparing a presentation and I want to have some data that I just prompt a tool and say, give me that data. As I'm said, he also asks it for business trivia, like those are the 10 most valuable companies in the world. None of them are tech companies, and Broadcom recently threw out Berkshire Hathaway, he said. So yeah, just going through chatting around his view on AI and how they're going to be using it in the companies. But if you're an SAP employee or you are worried about your job there, might be time to look for a position in a company that isn't going to immediately cull you because an AI can do your job, but also It's true. It's going to be happening in the workforce, and SAP, especially this guy, has made himself clear. Okay, second doomerish article on the job front, and this time it's from Accenture. Accenture cuts 11,000 jobs as AI takes over consulting. Accenture says it can't retrain everyone fast enough for the new AI-driven skills consulting now demands. CEO Judy Sweet said employees whose jobs can't be matched with new AI skills will get let go quickly. This change is so big, this is reversing 5 decades of how we're working. The cuts are part of a $865 million restructuring program expected to generate $1 billion in savings, money that will be reinvested in AI and workforce development. On this layoff news, Accenture's stock fell 2.7% and then rebounded 2.8% the next day, now nearly back to pre-announcement. So immediately the market didn't like it, and they're like, yeah, we're actually okay with it. How will they change this reality? We're talking with an Ask Perplexity bot here, but someone commented, how will they make this change a reality? Can you provide the step-by-step plan? Because I guess it's not all happening at once. And here's what Accenture laid out. They laid out a 3-part stage plan. They want to upskill at scale. They say 550K trained in agentic AI, 77K AI data specialists. And then number 2, rapid talent rotation to exit on a compressed timeline roles that can't be reskilled. That's an interesting word for being fired, isn't it? I'm sorry, so we're actually just rapidly rotating your talent out of the business. Streamline operations, including 2 divestitures and a 6-month business optimization program with about $865 million in charges to generate $1 billion in savings for investment. Timeline-wise, we've already cut 11K roles past quarter, expect more exits through 2025, and still plan to expand overall headcount next fiscal year by hiring into AI, data, and reinvention services, while consolidating business units to sell and deliver more AI-enabled work. Okay, so headcount's probably still going up overall, but cuts in certain areas for Accenture. Next story on spend for the Big 7, the Mag 7. Big Tech will spend $345 billion on capex for AI buildouts this year, a 2.5x in just 2 years. So we've seen these huge deals being thrown around in terms of spend to build out data centers and infrastructure, etc. Not crazy compared to global telecom spend of 1.5 trillion, but OpenAI's Stargate, $500 billion, promised by 2029, will be 25% of projected $2 trillion spend at a 58% sustained growth. This is a tweet by Didi, who's a partner at Menlo Ventures. Sam sees the exponential, and you can see how this is broken up. AWS making a chunk, Microsoft making a chunk, Alphabet, Meta. These are all the big tech hyperscalers. He adds, technically, it's under 25% since 500 billion is over 4 years. So if we assume the ramp to 200 billion in 2029, that's 10%. Then again, if you slice specifically by AI, hardware spend, it could be close to 2025. So all to say, the AI spend is up only, doubling 2.5 times since last year, up 2.5x in just 2 years. Oh, sorry, up 2.5x in just 2 years, not since last year. So we were at 134 billion in 2023. Now we're at 345 billion in 2025. Okay, we had some slides here. Got posted. I haven't got the full guide, but this is from Blackstone, and they talk about how they're investing in the picks and shovels of AI. So if you are familiar with like investing terminology, in a gold rush, you want to be selling picks and shovels. That kind of enables people to build stuff. And here's a few slides from this presentation. The first one is to do with global data center creators related to the last story, consumed and stored. From 2010, there's been a 197x increase in spend, moving from cloud adoption and content creation to artificial intelligence. You see the steepness of this curve here. And then the hyperscalers data center capex going from 92 billion in 2021 up to 386 billion in 2025. This is all people demanding AI, both for training from labs and inference from users. Powering the building blocks of AI. Power is obviously a big one, which is up 40%, estimated growth in electricity demand in the next 10 years. Data is 2 trillion to be invested in data infrastructure for the next 5 years. And then computing power. And yeah, you just go on to say Blackstone, where scale meets opportunity. And then we've got investing across the whole AI value chain here. So we talk about data center providers, power supplies, backup power, cooling services, etc., etc. Yeah, I haven't got the link to that full report actually, but I'm sure you can Google it. Blackstone investing in the picks and shovels of AI could be quite an interesting read if you're into learning about that. This was on a similar ilk actually. This is a really good blog post by Julian.ac, Schrittweiser. Probably butchered that. Sorry, Julian. He writes a really good article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but says we're failing to understand the exponential again. And the general discourse of this is that AI progress is, and this supposed bubble that we're in, everyone's saying it's up only, but then as the models have got so good, the progress feels like it's slowing down, but people inside of the actual labs working on it really know it's not. And then we're seeing a lot of metrics that are showing to that too. So I'll read just the first couple of paragraphs so you can get a good idea. It says the current discourse around AI progress and a supposed bubble reminds me a lot of the early weeks of the COVID-19 pandemic. Long after the timing and scale of the coming global pandemic was obvious, from extrapolating the exponential trends, that most public commentators kept treating it as a remote possibility of localized phenomenon. Something similarly bizarre is happening with AI capabilities and further progress. People notice that while AI can now write programs, design websites, etc., it still often makes mistakes or goes wrong or goes in a wrong direction. And then they somehow jump to the conclusion that AI will never be able to do these tasks at a human level or will only have a minor impact. When just a few years ago, having AI do these things was a complete science fiction. I agree. It's funny how kind of your expectations change over time. When we first saw GPT-4 came out, it was world changing, and now it's normalized, whereas progress is still racing ahead. People are like, yeah, I've used ChatGPT, and kind of brushing it off. Or they see 2 consecutive model releases that don't notice much difference in their conversations, and they conclude that AI is plateauing and scaling is over. Yeah, just what you said. Here is Meta. Accurately evaluating AI progress is hard and commonly requires a combination of both AI expertise and subject matter understanding. Fortunately, there are entire organizations like Meta, I think it's Meta, where sole purpose is to study the AI capabilities. We can turn their recent study, which is called Measuring AI Ability to Complete Long Tasks, which measures the length of software engineering tasks can autonomously perform. Okay, so if you tried to do a task a couple of years ago, 3 years ago with GPT 3.5, GPT-4, then it would last just under a minute to perform a task. Now we're in 2025, Sonnet 3.7, running tasks at over an hour. I know we've used tools like Replit with their Agent 3. If you've tried that, they can actually run on full autonomy mode for maybe up to 6 or 7 hours to build out a full application. Again, this is looping, so it might not be like an individual task as such. I don't know how they're classifying this, but agents and AI can now run these tasks for so much longer than what we were expected to, or what we were used to in previous years. So yeah, it's still going up and to the right. We can observe a clear exponential trend with 3.7, achieving the best performance by completing tasks up to an hour in length at a 50% success rate. Again, people will say, oh, but that means it's failing 50% of the time. Well, yeah, but it wasn't doing any of the time before, and now it's at 50. That's really good. However, at this point, Sonnet 3.7 is 7 months old, coincidentally the same as the doubling rate claimed by Meta in their study. Can we use this to verify Meta's findings holding up? Okay, so it just goes on to explain that their findings are actually in line with what other people are seeing inside these labs. And yeah, they're successfully working on tasks for over an hour in length and actually getting good results. This was also just one final note on that. Sorry, we can see the addition of recent models such as Grok 4, 4.1 Opus, and GPT-5 at the top right of the graph. Not only did the prediction hold up, these recent models are actually slightly above trend, now performing tasks of more than 2 hours. Okay, we're going to go. You can see how this trend kind of extrapolates out. We were at a minute. Now we're at 2 hours. Now you can go for 4 hours. Now 8 hours. And then potentially as long as you need if you have the budget and the inference and the tokens available, context, etc., etc., etc. Okay, he goes on to touch on this GDP val, which was the evaluation on real world tasks. And this was from OpenAI. We talked about it last week. It measured model performance in 44 occupations across 9 industries. And then I guess he just does the roundup that we're seeing a similar trend across there where they're actually performing these better and better over time, following this up and to the right. Yeah, here we go. So we're almost now with Claude Opus 4.1 at parity with an industry expert across all of these different tasks. So give this blog post a read at julian.ac. It just goes on to explain that to summarize this, while the apparent difference in new AI model releases is small, in fact, they are still doubling and getting way better, much quicker than it feels like they are in reality. Okay, we've got a tweet here or a post here from Nick Turley. This was a strong reaction to 4.0. I don't know if you're following the story. If you were, 4.0 was like a very an empathetic model, is an engaging model, and people really used to get sucked in to it via ChatGPT. It actually had some unintended consequences where people were too reliant on it. And when OpenAI said they were going to discontinue it or start to phase it out, people were livid. People were angry. They felt like they had a relationship with this particular model, or their AI character who was powered by this model was then different. So people weren't very happy. Here's the post, and I will read the thread. This is from Nick. He is the VP and head of ChatGPT. So I think he knows what he's talking about here. We've seen the strong reactions to 4.0 responses and want to explain what is happening. We've started testing a new safety routing system in ChatGPT. As we previously mentioned, when conversations touch on sensitive and emotional topics, the system may switch mid-chat to a reasoning model or GPT-5 designed to handle these contexts with extra care. This is similar to how we route conversations that require extra thinking to our reasoning models. Our goal is to always deliver answers aligned with our model spec. So to say, if somebody is getting overly involved in their conversation with 4.0, they'll need GPT-5 to kind of step in and evaluate that conversation and either dial it back or kind of bring it down a notch. And people aren't happy with it, or people were kind of trying to wonder why mid-conversation or at some point in the conversation the tone's changing or it takes it off in a different direction. This is why they're actually rerouting your messages from one model to another model without you actually switching it. Routing happens on a per message basis. Switching from the default model happens on a temporary basis. Let me reread that. Routing happens on a per message basis. Switching from the default model happens on a temporary basis. ChatGPT will tell you which model is active when asked, but they don't explicitly show you on the toggle. This is part of a broader effort to strengthen safeguards and learn from real-world use before a wider rollout. See more from our September 2nd blog, Building More Helpful ChatGPT Experience to Everybody. Okay, yeah, so here is probably the top 2 reactions to this. From Jesse, Nick, I respect what you're trying to do, but many find 4.0 to be a remarkable tool specifically for sensitive and emotional topics. Yeah, emotional understanding was really good with it. I've been talking to more and more people and find when I lead with my own rather vulnerable uses of it, including recovery from abuse and nervous system repair through co regulation, I've been surprised to see how people brighten and share their own similar stories once I might make it safe. Once I make it safe for them to do so. 4.0 is a remarkable tool for this use case, and GPT-5 doesn't come close. So yeah, different models just have different reactions to different things, and GPT-5 doesn't have the same maybe appearance of empathy or that stuff that falls in line with that than GPT-5 does. Or 5 doesn't have the same as 4.0. This cohort includes psychologically normal range, but struggling people whose quality of life is better because of GPT-4.0. That's why I'm advocating for it. I've seen the impact. I hope your filter leaves plenty of space for such users to engage as they see fit. Yeah, so the argument here is that everyone's adults here. Can we have the ability to turn it off? We don't really want, or people don't really want ChatGPT routing their conversations to a different model halfway through without telling you. It's like you'd use different models because they're good for different use cases. They should maybe explicitly tell you or give you the option to opt out of that sort of model switching. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. I think the Jesse had a good point. Okay, we have parental controls are now in ChatGPT. Now parents and teens can link accounts to automatically get stronger safeguards for teens. Parents can also gain tools to adjust features and set limits that work for their families, rolling out to all ChatGPT users today on web and mobile soon. Yeah, this is coming from a lot of people actually asking. I would love to give my children or my child ChatGPT, but there's a lack of parental controls there. So unlike you be able to set it in your computer or browser or on their laptop, I can't really give it to them because for obvious reasons. So now starting rollout. With safety notifications too. That's cool. So we care about your teen's safety. If we detect certain serious safety concerns, we will notify you. That's cool. Here's a few toggles. You can reduce sensitive content, reference saved memories, voice mode, image generation. So I guess if you don't want ChatGPT to start building like a relationship with your teen or your child, you just knock that off and it won't reference saved memories, previous conversations. Voice mode and images too. That's cool. So let's just tuck into all of the features that are going to come with parental mode. It says, what features will parents have the ability to adjust with parental controls in ChatGPT? First, reduce sensitive content. The ability to add extra safeguards to help protect teens, such as graphic content and viral challenges. This setting is on by default when a teen is connected. Memory. The ability to control if ChatGPT remembers past chats for more personalized responses. Thirdly, model training, the ability to control if conversations can be used to improve our models. That's quite good. Quiet hours, no brainer, the ability to set times when your team cannot use ChatGPT. Voice, the ability to turn off access to voice mode. And then image generation, the ability to turn off image generation or editing in ChatGPT. Will parents have access to their teens' conversations in ChatGPT? Parents don't have access to their teens' conversations except in rare cases where our system and trained reviewers detect possible signs of serious safety risks. Parents may be notified, but only with information needed to support their teen's safety. So that's interesting. Even if you add your teen's account to your ChatGPT account, you don't have access to their conversations. But it says here, which don't know exactly how they get looped in, but trained reviewers detect possible signs of serious safety risk. So there is humans there at some point who will have access to these chats. They're not kind of fully encrypted, end-to-end encrypted or whatever. but the system will be able to flag. And I guess if a conversation gets flagged, then it will pass to a trained reviewer who has oversight over the conversations, then can potentially alert you as the account owner as to an action that you might want to take. Do teens have to opt in to parental controls in ChatGPT? A parent or teen can send an invitation to link their accounts in parental controls. The other party needs to accept the invitation to get set up. Parents will be notified if a teen disconnects their account. We've worked closely with experts, advocacy groups, and policymakers to help inform our approach. Okay, so that's good. Parental controls are rolling out now. If you ever wanted to give your teen access to ChatGPT, but with some guardrails in place and some functions or features turned on and off, coming to ChatGPT on your device fairly soon. New, really good open source release here. We're going to whiz through some quick product updates now from Hunyuan from Tencent. Image 3.0, the largest and most powerful open source text to image model to date with over 80 billion total parameters, is now open source and released. So if you're an illustrator designer or creator, it's built to slash your workflow from hours to minutes, which we like. And I just wanted to show you the quality of some of the images that you create. So unlike models like Midjourney, OpenAI's image, etc., then this is actually fully open source. I think they have 3D, but the quality of the images are great. So you can actually run it yourself. You can get the code on GitHub, etc., and it's fully open sourced. Some of the use cases here: it's really good at text, comics, emojis, educational content, etc. Open source models from China, still on an absolute tear. This was cool. This is from Cyan Puppets, an excellent AI animation plugin for MetaHuman, accelerating Unreal Engine UE real-time animation workflows with AI. Converts webcam footage into 3D skeletal data in real time and supports automatic retargeting to MetaHuman. So if you're not familiar with MetaHuman, it's inside of Unreal Engine, which is a 3D, I don't know what you call MetaHuman. It's like an animation software, but the reality is stunning. It looks very, very real. And now this is an AI animation plugin for Unreal Engine. So there's a lot of games that are used or built with Unreal Engine. Let's just watch this video quick, and you can see how this works. You need to share the right tab so you can get the audio. Here we go. So on the left here, you can see a person uploading a video. This is a real person. In the middle, this is the character. And then here, you see the mapping. See how accurate like all the body motions are once it figures out your joints. You can see how accurate this is compared to this. This is be able to bring like real world human movements inside of Unreal Engine without the need for all those mocap suits, etc. Let's just skip through it. I don't think we need to watch this all, but you get the idea. You can just put video yourself, and then you can bring it into Unreal Engine and MetaHuman to create actions with your character. Pretty cool. Okay, we've got some leaks or some recent changes spotted inside of ChatGPT and Claude Web Apps. We've got new improvements, parents controls of ChatGPT, which we talked about. We've got the changes to hidden orders for ChatGPT shopping. Mentions of SMS notification addition to email and push notifications in ChatGPT. New tools, Mercury, unknown, and whatever that means. And we've got new Claude AI Heli Imagine with Claude that displays an announcement. What would you like to build from your imagination? This leads to imagine. Ask Claude to make interfaces on the fly and explore prompts in an imagined workspace. So here is some of the leaks, some of the spots. You got the orders, which are products you buy within ChatGPT. So if you're shopping, all your previous orders are going to show up here. That's kind of neat. And by the way, another point on this, we're actually seeing a huge rise in the amount of clicks and traffic that ChatGPT drives to websites. If you think maybe I would never buy something within ChatGPT, you are going to soon, because we're seeing the general uptake in traffic, or uptick in traffic is up only. So soon selling things directly inside of ChatGPT is going to be a big thing. I wonder how they'll handle like their cut, because they're going to have a cut somewhere. But yeah, it's coming soon. This is the Claude Leak. What would you want to build from your imagination? This is kind of like a web sim type thing. I don't know if you've seen a startup called Web Sim. Basically, you just tell it what you want to create, and it will create the interface on the fly for you. And it might start looking something like this. This is the Imagine by Claude. If you're creative, then I highly recommend using Let's, especially if you're into like creating like ads or visuals for any websites, etc. And the reason is you can use multiple reference images. Now, a reference image, if you've tried like an AI image generation tool before, you basically say, I want a picture of a man on a bike, and you give it a sample of a previous picture that you liked, and then the AI can create an image in that similar style. Now, these have got a lot better. And now with Let's V4, let me just skip. I'm still on the wrong tab. I've just noticed. Bear with me. Let's go back over here. Okay, so this is Let's V4. And with this, you can now use multiple reference images. So all you have to do is upload an image. Let's say this one. Add in additional reference images, and you can create the images that you want here. So you got the bike, you got the man on it, you got the green jacket, you've got the visual reference of the face, and then you've got the Doberman in here, and you can see all of the things individually referenced in the image. These guys use the edit agent, which will choose between Nano Banana and Flex Context. They'll aim to provide the best possible result based on your request. To guide your edits, you can use the new guided creation tools, which is basically like a generative fill type product where, let's say, if you wanted to put shades on your Doberman, for instance, you just draw a circle around your Doberman. Second. So if you wanted to put sunglasses on your Doberman, all you have to do inside of Let's is draw a circle around it and say add sunglasses. You can even write this on the image, and the editing tool will actually know to add those glasses on your dog for you. And you can also upload multiple images at once with annotations on them, and it will actually just go and do them all for you. So then once you're happy with the result, you can upscale with a brand new upscaler, which costs 4 cents to upscale to any resolution, costs 20 credits, which is 2 cents. So yeah, you can now get amazing images like this inside of Let's for not that much money. Go to lets.ai to try it out. But yeah, it's one of a creative person's dream tool, so to speak. We have a creator from Spain, particularly Mallorca, called Mayor King AI, who's created a awesome video, like a mini AI short film created using Leonardo and Nano Banana and Kling 2.5, two popular AI models. And he's created a mini short film called The Awakening. And thankfully, he's actually shared the process. If you're interested in actually how people create these things, we can actually walk through it step by step, because he's kindly shared it with us. So here is how he's created these things. We can whiz through it. first you give it ChatGPT this short script, 30-second or 1-minute video that I can make with Nano Banana. Then we created a shot list, as well of characters and assets. So you see we've got the characters with a prompt. We've got the assets with how he created it with these prompts. We come down and we specify the scene. Again, similar sort of workflow, create the scene, drop in the image. Here's the prompts. You get that out. Then you create scene 2. Sorry, my screen keeps on knocking off for some reason. Let me just see if I can close a couple of things. Bear with me. Here we go. We should be back. Okay, we're back. So then he goes, I've used the image of him from the back and placed it in the hallway. Then I ask to create an image focusing on his hand into the bathroom. So he basically just goes through all of these scenes one by one and creates the individual videos. So you see, create a scene here, use the provided reference image for framing and style. And then he says, use first person, 3D style cartoon, downwards angle. He gets actually very specific. But yeah, if you are looking to create AI animated videos, this is how he breaks down the process, changing his posture, looking in the mirror, resting on the edge of the sink. But you get the idea, scene 5. And then finally in CapCut, he puts all the videos together, adds the music and sound effects with 11 Labs. And then you have this full 1-minute video, which I would love to play with you because it gives you a really good idea of actually how far you can get now with these tools and having the confidence to try and stitch things together. So let's play this. Pretty good, huh? So yeah, give him a follow, Making AI on X at Making AI, and the thing was called The Awakening. Okay, let's see what we've got next. We've got a couple more things to cover. This is something which is coming soon. Don't think the code is available yet, but this is called Cut to Next. Now, if you ever watched the film, you can, how like one scene cuts the other, and in AI, traditionally that's been pretty hard to do, natively anyway with AI, because you'd have to kind of set start frame, end frame, and then edit them together. Or you can do now AI transitions where the AI just makes up the middle part and flips you around or adds a jetpack and it transitions into the next scene. This is generate next shot via in-context tuning. So cut to next synthesizes a subsequent high-quality video shot that critically conforms to professional editing patterns while upholding rigorous cinematic continuity. That was a mouthful, but TLDR is if you're going to do professional videos or create professional videos with AI, you're going to need to do professional edits. And this is the way we're going to do it. It's using this thing called Cut to Next. Okay. So you get character consistency, You give it a first image, another image, then you turn that into a video, and that cut is something that will be kind of cinematic, great, usable in full-scale film productions or whatever. So if you want to level up all of this to a cinema standard, then stuff like this is what you need. And it's in context because the shots will keep the context of the previous shot, won't just make up the bits. So, see in the background, the hat. Yeah, because you lose certain aspects of the character, or just create a whole new character previously. Being able to maintain. Okay, I want to just I'm going to skip through this poke review, but we're going to go to Notebook LM because I want to show a quick demo of what you can actually do with it, because I don't think a lot of people know what Notebook LM is. It's a really good product from Google, which is basically like a place where you can create a notebook, obviously because it's called Notebook LM. You basically add a lot of information. It could be your Google Drive, it could be finance documents, it could be videos, it could be websites. You could be doing a research project, or we're trying to learn a language, or covering or trying to learn a new topic that you find interesting. You basically add all your sources to Notebook LM, and then you could talk with it or create content or create new things off the back of it. And I'll show you how it works. Now, what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to add in a previous live stream. Let me get this video, and I want to ask it if it can help me make this better. So I'm going to go with YouTube. I'm going to paste this YouTube URL. That is the right link. Maybe I need to do another video. We'll go with who doesn't do lives. We'll get, say, we'll go with this one. We'll add that. Okay, now we've got it as a source. It's pulled the context of the video. And see on the right-hand side, you've got these different things that you can do with it. You could say, give me an audio overview, give me a video overview, give me a mind map, flashcards, etc. But you could also say something like, how can I make this video better and more appealing to people wanting to keep pace with AI? Okay, and you can chat with these sources. You can also add more too. So if you add documents, you could add feedback, you can add transcripts, and then it will actually give you feedback on all that content. So here, highlight the crucial technology and competitive advantage, explain the why, maximize the dramatic and investigative elements. But you get the picture. You can add a ton of videos in here. Let's say if I wanted to add another one, I could say, okay, Gamma was another video. We can just chuck that in, add it to Notebook, and over time, you can just build them up. One also thing you could do is say, if there's a video on YouTube best practices, add that in as a document, and then give me feedback based on that document of how I could improve my video. And you can maybe say, I don't know, flashcards, if you're wanting to learn a topic. Let's say you weren't familiar with any of the things that have been included in this source material, then you could just create flashcards and it will help you actually learn this topic and create an interactive quiz for you. It's going to be perfect things like languages, or even if your children get homework, etc. Quizzes, flashcards, reports are all where you want to be. So let's just see how quickly this generates and if we've got time to show them. But you can add actually quite a lot of context to Notebook LM. So I've added 2 videos, and you can go up to 50 sources here. Okay, looks like we have some flashcards. Let's open them up. And here we go. So let's say if you're trying to keep up with the world of AI and you wanted to recap videos of what you've seen, you could say, what is the primary function of the AI tool Gamma according to its tagline? It's presentation software, or AI presentation software. What significant feature of Gamma, actually we can go back because we can press it and it flips, to create presentations, websites, and social media content at the speed of thought. What significant new feature did they release recently to automate workflows? It'd be agents or the Gamma Generate API. Damn it, I got that one wrong. In the context software, what is an API? Okay, and you get the idea. We've got 36 flashcards to use to research and train or learn about any given topic. So give Notebook LM a try. You can share it. You can have multiple people. You can discover new sources based on things you're interested in. Really powerful tool. You'll love it. And today we learned that you actually can't put live YouTube video links in there too. So that's it for today. We covered a bunch of stories. It was a busy weekend as per usual. Thanks for tuning to the stream. And we will catch you at the same time tomorrow, 2 p.m. CET, for another hour covering everything interesting and exciting in the world of AI and technology. Catch you on the next one.